Hello there, welcome to another edition of the Holiday and Cruise Clinic. Yes, it's the only programme on television purely dedicated to answering your holiday, cruise and travel related questions. So if you have one, a query or a dilemma about going away anywhere, here's how to get in touch with us. We're on Facebook and Twitter, so if you go to either of those applications, search for Holiday and Cruise Channel. You can send us a question that way. We also have a website, www.holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk. The clinic programme has its own page, because we're posh like that, and you can send us a question online through the website. You can also write to us by post. We always welcome your postcards and letters to the Holiday and Cruise Channel, Cavendish House, Brighton Road, Liverpool, L22 5NG. Now, there aren't many destinations that boast year-round sunshine where even in the winter temperatures average over 20 degrees. It is therefore no surprise that more and more of us Brits are choosing the Red Sea for our next holiday, whether that be on a cruise or land-based. Picture yourself revelling under the sun in the Red Sea Riviera and enjoying some of the best seaside and family activities in eastern Egypt. Think scuba diving, think swimming among dolphins, think about pure relaxation on golden sandy beaches. It all sounds fabulous. And here to tell us more about holidaying in the Red Sea is Jason Hilton from Red Sea Holidays. Welcome along.
Thank you.
Sounds like a brilliant time to a brilliant place to go. When is the best time to go to the Red Sea?
Well, I think it's like you mentioned earlier, the good thing about Egypt is the sun really does shine all the year round. So it's always got a fantastic temperature. So I think it's probably down to personal taste, really. I mean, to be honest, if you go out there in July and August, it can be really hot, you know, temperatures well into the 40s. But outside of that, it's a really nice climate all year round.
Is there so there's no seasonal time when you're going to be in with everybody else? You can take your time anywhere around those slightly cooler winter months perhaps, or if you really want to go in the summer months and fry, then yeah, that's good.
By all means, July and August is the best time to do that. But I mean, outside of that, once you get into September, the temperature is really nice, and that goes right from September right through to April and even June, really.
Well, it's good that you've come along to join us today, because we talk a lot about cruising on this programme, as you know, and it's nice to talk about one particular area as a destination. But what about resorts in Egypt and the Red Sea area? Are they all the same?
No, not at all. I think that's the good thing about Egypt, is that it's such a vast country. It has so much to offer in terms of destinations, and each resort is very different to the next. So, for example, in Sharm el Sheikh, that's probably one of the best known or most common places for the Brits to go to. But outside of Sharm, you've got places like Hurghada. And then off Hurghada, you've got a number of really fantastic and interesting resorts. Places like Makadi Bay, which is a fantastic place if you just want to go and fly and flop. Very much a hotel-based type of holiday, but it's fantastic for that. And then also you've got Hurghada itself, which started as a small fishing village many years ago. And over the years, that's developed now into a real popular tourist destination. And the nice thing about Hurghada is that it's still got the old Egyptian charm. It's quite surreal, really, because when you go down into Hurghada Old Town, it's sort of split into two areas. So you've got the Old Town, which is almost like a mini Cairo, but then right alongside that, about 2 or 3 years ago now, there's a new marina there called Marina Boulevard. And down at the marina, you could be anywhere, like in Port Banús in mainland Spain, and it's a fantastic place to go and have dinner, have a drink at one of the many cafe bars that are there, and you can sit there and have all the yachts in the marina. Talking
of having a drink, which we often do on this programme, are you saying most people go all inclusive, or is there an option?
You tend to find first-timers to Egypt tend to go all-inclusive, because I think there's this sort of belief that when you go to Egypt, you go and you sort of stay in your hotel, and that's all you can do. And it couldn't be very, farther from the truth, really. Egypt, it's fantastic to be able to get out and sort of experience the local culture, and in terms of cuisine and restaurants, there are just a vast array. So you tend to find people tend to go all-inclusive for the first time. sort of find the feet and then realise it is dead easy to get out and about, and then perhaps the next time we'll go for a bed and breakfast or maybe even a half board option.
Okay, well just stay there for a second, because I want to go to a couple of our viewers' questions, and thanks for coming to us with your questions from Facebook and Twitter. We'll give you details about how to send them in a few moments during this programme. William has emailed a question in to us, Jason, and says, my wife and I went to Egypt, and we'd highly recommend anyone who is going to plan their trip before leaving, which I think is understandable.
Yeah.
We wanted to take in as much of Egypt as we could by planning it in advance. Is their recommendation, basically. They were able to make the most of their break there.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, it's like I was saying earlier, that's the good thing about Egypt, is that there is so much to see and do whilst you're on holiday. So if you're staying in the Red Sea resorts, it's very easy to get to the likes of Luxor and see the many sites that are available there, or even take a day trip or an overnight stay into Cairo.
I mean, sometimes you have to just take a breath and just think about the wonderful history of Egypt, don't you?
Yes,
because it's got some fantastic age-old, as
Most
old as the
definitely.
hills. They are old there.
Definitely, yeah.
Luxor is one of those places, definitely.
Yes, yeah. So in terms of planning, it is a good thing to do, and you find that these days tour operators such as ourselves allow you to pre-book excursions.
Right.
So if you're there for 7 or 14 days, it's good to get a mixture of having some time by the beach, but also enjoying some of the fantastic sites that are there to see.
What sort of money do we need to take with us in terms of local currency?
To be honest, Egypt's quite a bizarre place where there's 101 different currencies that are sort of accepted, really. The main ones being the local currency, which is the Egyptian pound. But you do find that US dollars are also widely accepted as well. My personal tip would probably to take a small amount of Egyptian pounds, just so when you get there you can tip. And things like that, and then take sterling with you, and then sort of change it once you're in resort. As a rule, you tend to find by doing that you'll probably get about 10% more for your money than you would if you changed it before. And
what about taking your plastic card and going to an ATM or trying to use it in a restaurant?
Yeah, again, they're widely available throughout all the main resorts, and ATMs again. You can find those, even in hotels tend to have them now as well as out in the resorts.
Okay, now you hinted at tipping there, which I know is a sore subject with a lot of us here on the programme. When and where and how much, and we're abroad now, so what do we need to do? What's the arrangement?
The thing to remember in Egypt, that tipping very much is the norm and almost sort of expected. And I think that's what I'm saying, it's always good just to have some small Egyptian notes available. And if you're by the pool and somebody comes to bring you a drink, then it's always nice just to tip, really. So from my experience, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to go out there on a number of occasions now, and you do sort of get in the habit of just giving tips out. And you do find that they are very well received, and the service you get on the back of giving tips, the waiter or the pool attendant never forgets, and you can guarantee the next day you go, he'll make sure that you've got the best sunbed in the best place, and the best service.
Tip. Yeah, in itself. Perhaps I need to just pass you a couple of quid before you leave. Thank you very much. So that's well worth looking at. Let's go to another one of our viewer questions. Lawrence Jones has got in touch with us to say we are undecided when to go to Egypt, so it's another kind of dilemma around the season.
Yeah.
My wife is a teacher, so we can only go during school holidays. Is it best to go in summer, Christmas or Easter, do you think, when it comes to school, of course?
Yeah, it's funny actually, because you tend to find that families go, particularly in the school holidays, but not so much the July and August time. October's very popular, as is the February half term and also the Easter break as well. But you do find that in Egypt now there are a number of hotels that sort of cater for different markets. So if they're going as a couple, there are a number of options now from a hotel point of view that are just adult only. So if they're wanting to go away and sort of have some time, adult time, as opposed to being surrounded by hundreds of kids, then there are enough hotel choices to allow them to do that.
And will you avoid the premium of summer then, price-wise, I mean, if you are going in October or Christmas or something like that?
No, you do find, because it's a year-round destination, prices are pretty much flat right the way through. probably the Christmas and New Year time is probably the most expensive time to go. But in terms of pricing, you do tend to find, like I say, that it's pretty much the same year round.
Yeah. We tend to worry a lot as Brits, don't we, about things and what they're going to be like, you know, food, currency and all that kind of thing. What about the political situation there at the moment? You know, what is it? Can we leave the hotel? Can we get out and enjoy ourselves?
Yeah, okay? I think even in the height of the uprising, a lot of the sort of demonstrations actually took place in Cairo, and the main Red Sea resorts, Sharm, Hurghada, Taba, etc., were relatively unaffected by things that were going on in Cairo. And you find, I mean, in this day and age, that any good tour operator wouldn't send any customer out to the resort if they felt there was, you know, any reason not to. So, you know, as far as that's concerned, there's no problem at all.
Sure. I think one thing we talk about a lot on this programme is preparation before you go, as I think William has hinted in his observation for us today, to prepare as much before you go and research a little bit. And obviously, if you're abroad in an unfamiliar city, it doesn't matter where you go in the world, you just got to be on your toes a little bit.
Of course you have, yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, always plan your itinerary in advance, and if you're doing excursions, another tip would be to always book them through either your tour operator prior to departure or with your holiday rep whilst you're overseas, just to be sure that everything is taken care of.
Okay, well, we'll talk about cruising a little bit in the next part of the programme, because I want to know a little bit more about Nile River cruising, which sounds so chilled and relaxed.
Yeah,
hope to. And also a little bit about maybe new resorts we can, or things we can look forward to for such a historical place. Is there anything new about Egypt that we can look forward to coming up? And also a bit about shopping and, you know, that age-old thing of haggling.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, sounds good.
All right, so stay there for a moment, Jason. Okay. Let me just remind you of our handy cruise guide. Here it is. Maybe we've whetted your appetite for a river cruise along the Nile, perhaps. Here are some interesting questions, dead simple questions that you'd like the answer to. All you need to do, get a free copy, is call us on 0871 423 4444. Calls will cost you 10p a minute from a BT landline, and as usual, calls from other networks and mobiles may of course vary. You can also request a copy, one of the best ways, through our website www.holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk. So while you're having a quick look online, we'll take a quick break here. See you back in a few minutes. Hello there, welcome back to the Holiday and Cruise Clinic. Today we're exploring the Red Sea in Egypt. But remember, if you have a holiday, cruise or a travel related question, here's how to get in touch with us. We're on Facebook and Twitter. If you just search for Holiday and Cruise Channel, you can send us a question that way to our panel of experts. You can also go to our website, www.holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk. Just navigate your way to the clinic page and you can send us a question that way as well. And to make it just as simple as possible, we're also taking questions by post too, to the Holiday and Cruise Channel, Cavendish House, Brighton Road, Liverpool, L22 5NG. Jason Hilton from Red Sea Holidays is still with me. We're going to go straight back into a question, Jason, from one of you who've written today. Chris and Jean, because I wanted to tie this in with cruising, but river cruising rather than ocean cruising in Egypt. Chris and Jean say, we had a great river cruise on the Nile last year. We used to go ocean cruising, but now prefer the calm, peaceful waters of a river cruise, which is quite interesting.
Yeah,
two totally different methods of cruising.
Very
really,
much so. Yeah, definitely. Nile cruise is very popular and has been for quite some time now. The great thing about it, you tend to find that a lot of tour operators, including ourselves, sort of include everything within the price. So, for example, a cruise with ourselves would include 10 excursions. So it means that everything's taken care of, price you know, sort of getting on a holiday. But it's a great way, over a 7-day period, you sort of see as many as 12 different sites. And the nice thing about them as well is you tend to find that you do the sightseeing early on. So you'd normally be up and out by about 8 o'clock. but then you're normally back just after lunch. So you've done all the hard work in the morning in terms of getting out and seeing all the sights, and you've got the rest of the day then just to chill out by the pool on board.
Typically, how far would you go in miles or whatever on a river cruise each day?
Over the course of it depends. Each day, some days you'll be very much just docked.
Yeah.
Other days you will sail probably about 50 or 60 miles.
Okay.
But it's just at a very, very steady pace, very relaxing.
Sure, and because it's on the Nile, on a busy river, there's an awful lot to see as you're going along, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah. No, it is fantastic, and you tend to find Monday in Luxor is always a busy day because that's the main arrival day, where you'll have a number of cruise ships all heading off in the same direction.
Yeah.
But it's quite surprising that after a couple of hours, everybody just seems to find their own space on the Nile, and it feels very relaxed and very chilled.
And you can combine your holiday, can't you, with a cruise and some kind of R&R afterwards?
Yeah,
if you need any
indeed.
more
Yeah,
after that.
yeah. And that, from our point of view, is one of the most popular holidays that we sell. It's a 14-night cruise and stay. So what you do with that is you fly into Hurghada, normally on a Friday. Then you have 3 nights in your hotel by the Red Sea to sort of get into holiday mode. And then you transfer up to Luxor on a Monday. And that's when you have your 7-night cruise. And then on the following Monday, you then transfer back down to the Red Sea and then just finish off the whole holiday with another 4 nights. Relaxing. So yeah, it's a great holiday to sort of have a good combination of chilling out and seeing the sights that are there, really.
Now, what kind of food can we expect on a holiday like that, or a river cruise? Are we talking local cuisine, or is it food that we'd recognise? You know, us Brits, again, we're a bit picky about our food abroad,
absolutely.
aren't we?
You do find that I think we mentioned earlier about all-inclusive options. 2 of the ships that we feature, for example, are all-inclusive. And the good thing about that is that with that you do get a lot of buffet options, which means that by doing that the boats can cater for a whole different raft of tastes. But within the food that's available, the typical Egyptian cuisine has got very mixed sort of influences. It's very Mediterranean, very North African. So you know the food as a whole is always of a very high standard. And
what sort of local specialities can we look out for then? You know,
there's a few things really. I mean, if anybody's got a sweet tooth, the baklava's like a pastry dessert which is very, very sweet but very, very tasty. And then there's things like kufta, which are like minced kebabs, which again are very, very popular. And you tend to find in a lot of the local restaurants and even in the hotels that they're very big on meze, where you can have a whole raft of 10 or 15 different local dishes. So.
And what about you as a tourist then, Jason? What do you like to do when you're presumably in Egypt, or even if you're just working on behalf of the company as a sort of mock tourist, going out and finding out what people like to do and enjoy when they're holidaying with you? Yeah,
I mean, for me, it's always about just going out there to just chill out and relax, really. I think for me and the family, that's what holidays are about. But like I said, I think that's the good thing about Egypt, is that it's got something to sort of cater for everybody. So if you want to do that, then it's absolutely fine. That's what you can do. But if you want to get out and see and do things, then you've sort of got those options there as well.
Sure. What do your children tell you about it? Do they enjoy it?
They love it, actually. Yeah, we've been lucky now. We've been out there probably about 6 times with them now. And each time we tend to try a different hotel. We've just got a new hotel that's just opened just a couple of months ago in Makadi Bay, which is the Sunwing Water World, and that's been built with a water park in the centre of it. So we were out there at Easter, and the kids just thought that was fancy. Yeah, it's just a bit, yeah. But it's great because I mean it just keeps them entertained for the entire week or fortnight, really.
The general standard of hotels is pretty good, getting better.
It's very good, yeah. You tend to find that a lot of the hotels do tend to be all inclusive, and as a rule, more and more new hotels are going into that sort of 5-star category. And in terms of the facilities and the services that they have are fantastic. You tend to find as well that a lot of the all-inclusive options, whilst they'll have main buffet restaurants, some of the good 5-star hotels will also have a number of a la carte dining options. So some of the hotels that we feature have as many as 8 a la carte restaurants, and in those restaurants you'll have like Chinese, Indian, Italian, Lebanese, French. So it means in some cases you could go for 14 nights and literally eat in a different restaurant, you know, each night you were there. So
because I was going to, you were kind of hinting at that, and I was thinking at the time that some people do like to travel independently, don't want to go all inclusive because they think they're hemmed in and they're never going to see anything of the city.
Yeah.
So is B&B an option then as well? You can go out and do your own thing in the evening.
Yeah, you tend to find the B&B hotels tend to be really in the centre of the resort. So, for example, in Narma Bay, there are a number of bed and breakfast options there in Sharm el Sheikh, which you can simply just literally walk outside of the hotel, and you'll find a whole raft of restaurants, ranging from things like Pizza Hut, KFC, right up to, you know, top a la carte restaurants. So there really is something to suit all tastes, really.
Yeah,
and budgets as well, which I think is important.
Good, good. Well, it's an established holiday resort, isn't it? So, you know, over those years, they've got to know what people like and can cater for that.
Yeah.
Egypt caters a lot for the diving community as well, doesn't it? On the Red Sea? Are you a diver?
I'm not, no. I've tried it a couple of times, but it's like I said earlier, for us holidays are just about chilling out, really.
Yeah.
But it is very, very popular for diving. You find a lot of the hotels actually have their own dive centres on site. And we do a lot of groups, dive groups that, you know, tend to go out to the same hotel at the same time every year. But yeah, I mean, all the resorts have got some fantastic diving spots there. It's a great place. If you're an experienced diver, it's great to go out there because there are some fantastic things to see. But if you're going out there to learn, again, it's equally as good.
Yeah.
And packages, if you just want to try it for a day, you can pay about £50 to do that, just to sort of test the water and see if you like it. But then if you want to go off and you want to pre-book a 2-day or a 2 or 3 day course, then you're looking then at prices starting from about £200 to do that. The other big thing as well for diving as well is we've just created a new package for families. So if mum, dad and the kids want to learn to dive together, they can do that over a couple of days, which seems to be proving quite popular, really.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks very much, Jason. In 30 seconds, could you just give us, what, you know, for anybody who's thinking of going to Egypt, what your message would be to them if they're just thinking of trying it but they're not so sure? Yeah,
it's like I said earlier. The good thing about it is you can go any time of the year because you've always got the weather. And then in terms of destination, for me, it would have to be Makadi Bay because it's just a beautiful spot. Very relaxed, very chilled and laid back, and it's got some really, really lovely hotels there.
Brilliant. Okay, definitely worth a try. Jason, thank you very much indeed for coming to see us today. And a quick reminder about our first-time guide to cruise holidays. If you want a copy for river cruising or ocean cruising, full of questions that you possibly have been asking yourself and the answers more importantly as well. 0871 423 4444 is the number to get hold of a free copy. Calls will cost you 10p a minute from a BT landline. Calls from other networks and mobiles may, of course, vary. Our website is one of the best ways of getting hold of a copy, www.holidayandcruisechannel.co.uk. Have a look, see what we're doing, grab yourself a copy of this really useful guide as well. Well, that's all we have time for on today's edition of the Holiday and Cruise Clinic. My thanks again to Jason Hilton from Red Sea Holidays. Most of all, thanks to you for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Goodbye.